You either is or you ain't. You do or you don't. You can or you can't. Or you will or you won't. Either way, baby, a good man, well, he's hard to find. Welcome to the One More for the Good Guys podcast, where good guys gather to shed light on the good life, the people, and the good things that make it that way. I'm Mike McGill with my co-host, Jamie Akins. Now, raise your glass, lend us your ear, and let's have one more for the good guys. You either is or you ain't. You do or you don't. You can or you can't. Or you will or you won't. Either way, baby, a good man. Well, hey, everybody, McGill Billy here.
And I'm Jamie.
Welcome to One More for the Good Guys podcast. We want to thank you for all your support so far. We are literally watching our social media presence grow weekly, as well as our YouTube channel. And we only have one group to thank for that, and that's all of you fine folks for doing that. Continue to please like and share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Find important people, brag on us, do anything you can to help us out. We appreciate that. But today we've got a gentleman with us from the great state of New York, and I seen some of his work one time on an Instagram post, and emailed him or messaged him directly, and before I knew it, a couple of weeks later, I got one of these beautiful lighters that was handcrafted with cigar labels straight from this fella's studio. And this fella that we're talking about is our friend and soon to be yours, Mr. Robert Glick. Hello, Robert. How are you, friend?
Good, guys. How are you?
Doing great.
Doing wonderful. We've tried to sell as many of these as we can for you. We're both genuinely love ours, and just the attention to detail that you do in your art, and of course this is just a small sample size, the lighter that we showed, but you're in your studio now as we speak.
I am in my art studio. It's behind me and all around me.
Nice. Well, would you like to give us a little tour around, maybe? And
sure.
Tell us
I'll be
some
more
of the
than
things
happy
that
to.
you're working on.
Absolutely. So basically, it all starts with cigar bands.
Nice.
And I probably have enough cigar bands for the rest of my life, but it's never too much.
I don't know.
This is my little sort of wall of fame.
Padron.
People in the industry. It's like going to a restaurant, you know, when they have the pictures in front. So It's my little homage to my artwork. And then I have a little display area where I sort of have some of my accessories that are for sale that I haven't sold yet or I'm in production with.
Right.
All different types of things. I have ashtrays.
Beautiful.
Humidors. Everything is original cigar band artwork. They're lacquered. And this is where it all happens.
Nice.
So a lot of times now I get a lot of the cigar bands from the cigar manufacturers directly.
Okay.
Over the years, I've built, relationships with many of the major manufacturers. So, I work with them, we collaborate, and then I spend lots and lots and lots of time, you could ask my wife, cutting bands. It's my own little therapy as my artwork is. And I put them in different areas, all different bands. And then underneath here where I work, they're actually in buckets. I call them my paint buckets because I coordinate them through colors.
Right.
Some more areas. And this is actually going to go to Vegas next week because I'm going to be giving these to Carlito Fuente.
Nice. He'll be styling in the Opus X Air Jordans there.
Yes. Opus X 20th anniversary.
Nice.
And some other projects I'm working on for an actress in Hong Kong.
Beautiful.
A matching bag and some boots. And then I have all different things that I do Big Mets fan.
There you
Proud
go.
of them this season.
Look at that, man. That was gorgeous.
All original artwork with
Wow.
cigar bands. Life-size knight, shining armor.
There
The
you
American
go.
flag back there.
Yeah.
My original flag that I did was for Jorge Padron with his bands only. That's how I got started with the idea.
Okay. That's wonderful.
All different types of things. This is one of my favorite pieces.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man.
It's a straight flush.
Yeah.
And then I do some tabletop. You can see by my hand the size. It's all miniatures, cigar boxes.
Really cool. And the attention to details, just amazing.
And then I'm doing a backgammon set for somebody. I'm in the middle of that. And then I actually will take nowadays with AI.
Uh-huh.
So here's a piece that I just finished.
Okay.
All right. And I actually just sold the original. But what's really cool that I'm actually sharing with your audience for the very first time, and I actually just did a reel that's not posted, because what I've done is I've taken the artwork that you just saw, and not that I'm prepared for your show, but there it is.
Nice.
Wow.
So now I'm putting everything on T-shirts.
Nice.
So if anybody's ever interested, my Instagram, Art de Fumar, which is the art of smoking. A little play on words, ARTDEFUMAR. That's where they can find me on Instagram. I have a website, artdefumar.com, but a lot of people have a lot of followers on Instagram, again, at Art de Fumar, ARTDEFUMAR. So this is basically my studio. And, if you have any questions before we go upstairs so I can have a smoke with you guys.
Yeah. I guess just, no, not really. I mean, I have many questions, but we'll allow you to sit down.
I'll just show you a couple of things. These are shoes that I made that were signed by Carlito with his bands.
Nice.
And then lastly, I do all sorts of humidors here. And these are my father's, signed by Yanni.
Oh, wow.
Man.
And then lastly, this is one of my favorite pieces.
Oh, wow.
Very cool.
Now, what's kind of cool about this is that if you sit and study the map, every cigar band, the beginning of the cigar band is the beginning of the state, the letter. So, whether it's Kentucky, Florida, all the different states are represented by a cigar band with the first letter of the name of the band is the letter of the state.
Which one is Tennessee?
Oh, now I'm geographically challenged, so you're not going to do that to me on air, right? So, but all different stuff. All right, I'm going to take you upstairs to my studio.
Okay, sounds wonderful.
To my cigar room.
Very much. Thank you for sharing that.
All right, I'm going to walk up.
Unbelievable.
In case you want to.
Unbelievable.
Okay.
I know when we first started talking about this, you were, this was a couple of years ago when we ordered lighters from you, that you had said that this was a hobby of yours. And man, you've got some hobby, Robert.
Well, I got to tell you, the hobby, ever since we became friends, Mike, it's still a hobby.
Yeah.
But it has grown tremendously. I mean, really, it's really taken off.
No, it's wonderful. I mean, I had the idea of we were coming up on our 1 year episode for our podcast, and we'd sat around for a year or more talking about doing this, and then finally realized that we just needed to do something, and then once we kind of got our fire lit to do something, then we started gaining some momentum and getting some followers, and it started out with a path this wide, and then we started sort of funneling it into good news and the good life and the good things that make it that way, and ours has been growing as well, but actually I was listening to the Cigar Authority, another podcast that I listen to regularly, and they were saying that your art had gotten selected to be on the 30th year anniversary for Cigar Journal for the cover. And I called you straight away. I was like, holy cow, I know that guy. Yeah, there you go. Very good. And
I'm really proud and honored that Cigar Journal reached out to me and not only gave me an award for art last year at Intertobacco in Germany, but then when I got home, they called me to have a meeting, and I was honored when they asked me in preparation a year prior to the anniversary to design the cover. So It's really been wonderful.
No, and rightly so. It tickled me to death to hear about it, and then I got to thinking. I was like, why can't we can do this? We can figure this out. We didn't know anything about this before, and then we rolled our sleeves up and started kind of learning. And Jamie does a lot of the technical sides of things, and me with booking guests and different things. We've got a good partnership, but I was excited to death. I texted you, I believe, or messaged you, and when you said you were willing to come on, it was just it was very flattering. So thank you for that.
Yes, thank you very much.
Uh-oh. Are we froze up?
I don't know. Possible.
Can you see me?
Yeah.
We can hear you.
Well, yeah, we can hear you.
I see both of you, so I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, you're back now.
Okay.
But no, what we were saying, I don't know if you heard that, but we were just tickled to death that you would take the time to come out and be on the show with us. We really appreciate your time and
my pleasure
and your efforts. But so I imagine you're originally a New York native?
I am. I grew up right here on Long Island, and I moved one or two towns over from where I grew up. Yeah.
And did you study art in school, or how did the art bug bite you? How did all this come about?
I have no idea.
Yeah, well,
I literally was in this room maybe 7 or 8 years ago, and I've always collected my cigar bands, and right to my left is like a clear glass tube. You see them in lounges, and I collect them. And
same here.
And I'm a hoarder, and I collect and I collect, and I said I was going to do something. And one day I got the box of cigar bands out of the closet, and I saw a wood coaster, and I said, you know what? I'll have some fun. Long story short, it was with that wood coaster that I taught myself how to design, but then it grew. Like you ever do anything and where you do it better and better the more you have practice? It's almost like an assembly line and growing, and you learn how to do this, you get this better, you do more. And that's exactly what happened with my artwork. I never knew that, I was able to do this.
Yeah.
I did come from somewhat of an artistic family. My father was a graphic designer, and my mom, although she was not a professional, she was clearly an interior decorator. And to this day, my mom at 84 does art with magic markers, but it's really intricate and beautiful, and people have it in their homes. I have it in my homes. It's beautiful. So there was some art background, but never realized it. And eventually, we've all seen, cigar band art online or what have you, but when I say rudimentary, and I don't mean it's beautiful stuff, but cigar bands are straight edges.
Right.
And you see people when they put the cigar bands, you see the straight edges all the time.
Right.
With my artwork, I wanted to make it seamless.
Right.
So I grew up loving puzzles.
Oh, well, there you go.
And it hit me that my artwork through this is that when I realized it, I became the puzzle designer.
Right.
Making the puzzle, not putting it together.
Right.
But I would cut, and then I just taught myself. So if you look at my artwork now, it's all seamless. It flows like you can't even tell unless you come up close that it's cigar band. And that's the magic of the effect that I want for people.
Right. Yeah. Henceforth, the collages and the pictures, the states things, the cards, Statue of Liberty, the Mets, all of that stuff. Yeah. I can see that now, and it makes perfect sense that if you were someone who loved puzzles, that you could be the one making the puzzles, or you could be the one putting them together. So that makes perfect sense.
When they look like puzzles.
Yeah, they do.
They do.
Yeah.
They just
yeah. So how long have you been a smoker of cigars?
Well, I guess I'm proud to say I'm 60 years old.
Yeah.
And I've been smoking since I'm 25.
Okay. What was do you remember your first cigar?
I don't remember what the cigar was.
Yeah.
But I do remember having my first cigar absolutely when I fell in love with it. There was a local festival. It was actually coincidentally this past weekend here on Long Island. It's called the Oyster Fest.
Mm.
And I came to the Oyster Fest and people were selling cigars. And I said, you know what? I always had an affinity because growing up, my grandfather, Jack, may he rest in peace, was a big Macanudo fan.
Okay.
Used to always see the boxes of cigars in his bureau. And I thought that was cool. And I tried the cigar. And from that day on, I fell in love.
Wow. Very good. Macanudo, that was, they were the king of the walk there for quite some time. Goes way back. I think I can remember a fella who used to come by one of the places where I worked, and he always had a cigar, and he was a Macanudo man as well.
Traditionally very mild. Every time you go in for a mild cigar and ask somebody, they say, get a Macanudo.
Yeah, that's my palate also. My palate is more medium to mild.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I'll smoke, Maduro. But my go-to is definitely a more medium, mild, type of smoke.
Do you, what's your go-to stick right now, or maybe your favorite?
I don't really honestly have a go-to stick. I have a palate that always wants to try things.
Okay.
I pulled out in celebration of being with you guys today, a rare cigar, a rare pink from Fuente in honor of Breast Awareness Month coming up. And actually the pinks are now getting out on the market, but I don't smoke them all the time because they're rare. They're not the cheapest. Yeah. But I thought today with you guys was appropriate to celebrate and to have one. So I honor with you guys. So this is a great, great, great cigar.
Yeah, it really is.
I like the Monte Cristo White series is, a good cigar for me. How could you not like a good Padron?
Right.
Sure. Yeah.
Anything Opus X 20th anniversary is great. I was just in Florida this weekend at the launch of Carlito and Maniarate's Opus X Society cigar, which is a really cool event. So I would say, those are my some of my favorites.
Yeah. Yeah, I only have one of those rare pinks left, and I have it in the little short perfecto size. And they are very good.
If you play your cards right, you might be able to have a second one as well, maybe.
Okay, that'll be good. I'll make sure to keep playing them well. So how long ago did you start your process of doing the art? When the coaster? How long ago was that?
It was about 8 years ago.
Okay. And then once you got that made, you You enjoyed it. You admired it.
And then I'm always trying to think, no pun intended, I'm trying to think out of the box.
Yeah.
And what can I do that's different? And I would go online for hours and look at different things and different wood things and wall hangings. And, we're in my cigar room right now, and I could turn the camera around real briefly, but you could see I do all sorts of,
right,
all different things. So, it's anything and everything. So I'm always trying to just do something that's different that people love. And then with the advent of AI now, like the shirt and the artwork I showed you, I actually designed that on AI.
Right.
And a lot of the artwork, not this one, I now have skulls that are coming out where they're smoking cigars. Most of my artwork has the feature of a cigar in the mouth. This one happened not to. Right. But most of them now do.
Nice. Well, and we're musicians by trade. I mean, that's, going through school, that's all I ever studied was music. Any elective I got the opportunity to do, it was going to be music. Any extracurricular activity, whether it was learning to play or singing, it was always music related. So we can understand the rewards from being able to work hard at something and then finally getting a grasp on it and then saying, hey, I got this, now. But as well as with the artwork, for your inspiration, we get asked all the time, stuff like, how do you come up with writing a song, and like there's some kind of formula to it. And, literally sometimes you just reach up in the air and grab them, or an idea. And then other times it's from a life experience, or other times it's from maybe from a book you've read or from a movie you've seen or something that's,
it's never the same thing.
No,
usually
not for me. It's not.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think, whether you call it inspiration, I think it's one and the same for me, but I think it's the challenge for me.
Yeah.
It's, can I do this?
Yeah.
And, somebody from Cigar Aficionado gave me an idea to do a trumpet.
Yeah.
And I did the trumpet. And then I found out that Carlito Fuente is actually a trumpet player.
Yeah.
And I arranged with Ciro, who is his chief of operations, to surprise Carlito in the DR at an event. And Arturo Sandoval was playing at the event.
Okay.
And I surprised both of them with 2 trumpets with Fuente bands. Nice. And it was a great, if people want to go on to Instagram, you can find it where they're playing them and it's fun. But that was a challenge for me.
Yeah.
And I definitely find the challenge, the biggest part of it for me.
Yeah, no, I can. We can relate to that as well. We have an upcoming thing on December 22nd that I've done for. Well, this will be the 12th year, and we do a benefit concert for East Tennessee, Second Harvest of East Tennessee Food Bank, and unfortunately, we still have problems with that in a lot of our rural areas here in East Tennessee with, 1 out of 6 or 1 out of 8, 6 to 8 kids are still going hungry. So we do a thing for the Food for Kids program, and it's a big challenge. I told somebody the other day, they were asking me about it, and I said, literally, I turn around and somebody tells me, hey, 5 minutes till curtain. And I just kind of do one of these numbers, and I'm like, okay, I guess we've done it all and we've got it ready. And it never fails to amaze me that challenge can be not only recognized but met and dealt with. So it's a tremendous feeling. And I imagine the trumpet, with it being a lot of round areas and very 3-dimensional, was quite the challenge.
It was very difficult Yeah, definitely. It's funny. I'm listening to what you're saying about your music, whether it's music, my artwork. To me, my artwork for me is my therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and absolutely. My wife tells me I need a lot of artwork. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, I get lost. I get up at, I don't do this for a living.
Right.
I'm a practicing attorney here in New York, and I get up every morning at about 5 o'clock, and I work for about 3 hours, and I get lost. And almost every morning I have to fight myself literally to stop doing my artwork and go shower.
I bet. Right. Yeah.
How much longer do you think you're going to be doing that? Fighting yourself?
The artwork or the lawyering?
Fighting yourself for the lawyering.
Oh, well, since this is, public, this show,
sure,
and my partners and my firm is probably watching. No, I'm kidding. Forever, guys. Forever. No. You know what? I haven't really.
Yeah.
As long as both are making me happy, why stop?
Absolutely.
Sure.
No,
yeah.
That's the that's the key. That's the American dream. That's the key. That's the big payoff. That's the whole enchilada. How many more cliched things can we say? That's it. Happiness is the key. So that's good to hear. So obviously you've shared with us already about a lot of different things you've gotten to go to and be a part of. What since doing the art, what has your art opened up to you as far as in the cigar world? What doors has opened for you? That
it's funny. I am still to this day, I don't think comprehend.
Yeah.
What my artwork has enabled me to do. And when you say open the doors, I mean, I'm a lawyer from New York, okay? And, I'll go to DR. I'll go to the Fuente event in Florida. I'll go to the PCA in Las Vegas.
Right.
And people come up to me, and it's weird.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That you get recognized. And I'm not saying it as like, it's not something that I'm used to. So
right.
I have become friendly and friends with many, many of the owners of the major brands throughout the world.
Right.
It all started where I tell this story all the time, and I'll tell you.
Please share it with our people.
So I did some artwork, I did some humidors, and I did a cigar cutter, and we were having an event, and it was I think it was a Padron event.
Mm-hmm.
And, tickets and what have you, and cut and light. And I bring some of my art, and, when there's an event, I bring some accessories, and we sit around, people bring them. We have the humidor with the cigars, and I have my artwork. And all of a sudden, some guy comes up to the table and takes out like these small specks out of his wallet and puts them on. And he looks down at the cutter, and he takes it. And he says to me, did you make that? I said, sure, I did. Yeah. He says, could you make me one? I said, sure, I could make you one.
Yeah.
And at that time, I really wasn't in the process of thinking about selling. I thought about it, but right. This artwork are like my children, and I don't want to get rid of them. Sure. But I said, sure. And he says to me, he extends his hand. He says, what's your name? I said, my name is Rob Glick. He said, nice to meet you. I said, what is your name? He says, my name is George Padron.
There you go.
And I'm like, oh, I think I've heard of that name before. And I talked to Jorge, who I've become very close with now over the years. And at the end of the night, I gave him one of my lighters because it had a Padron band in it.
Okay.
And the greatest thing that ever happened to me that made my career take off is 2 days later, because we exchanged numbers, I get a call from George, embarrassingly, asking me for another lighter because TSA took it away from him.
Oh, no.
Because he forgot to put it underneath in his luggage.
Oh, no.
Oh, wow.
So I said to George, coincidentally, next month I'm coming to Florida, to Miami. My parents live in Boca, and I'll drop one off for you. Long story short, I go down. We're sitting in his, in his distribution center and factory, sitting there with George Padron, having a cigar with him.
Yeah.
He asked me if I could make him something, and we decided that I would make him an American flag using only his burgundy, white, and blue bands.
Okay.
To this day, it's hanging in his factory. And then he's asked me to make other things. And that took off on Instagram because I took pictures and videos. And eventually, I got in contact with Carlito, Oliva, Hochi Blanco from La Galera, Raquel Quesada and her father from Quesada Cigars, Ernesto Carrillo, from EP Carrillo, virtually all of the bands, my father's Pete Johnson with Tatoué. And then it became, now I go to industry events and we're friends. So to answer your question in a long-winded way, it's opened up where I'm like part of the cigar industry, which I still can't fathom.
Yeah. And
it's welcoming. They treat me like family. And it's just amazing. Drew Estate. JC Newman. It's Nick from Foundation. It's become like friends. It's really opened the doors. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, that's wonderful, man. What a story. I can only imagine having a cigar with any of those people that you just named, just having a cigar with them, much less with the thoughts of that they liked.
I tell you, when I hear you say that, you just made me think. I'm the same way that you actually think, Mike. I'm like, oh my God, I'm actually having a cigar, right?
Yeah.
So what I did is, anytime I have a cigar with the owner, whether it be Padron, Fuente, Oliva,
right,
Lampert, I actually don't finish the cigar.
Oh, wow.
I take it home with me, and I have them all in my art studio. I didn't show you, but they're all resined.
Really?
And I have each and every cigar that I have smoked with the owner that has given it to me, or I'm smoking with them, and I have them all.
How about that? That's certainly something worth cherishing and a good way to do it. Yeah, that's tremendous. Have you had a most memorable trip or a favorite trip that you've taken, a cigar trip?
Well, I think this past
any of
year
those
in
would be
February,
pretty hard to beat, but
I think in this past year in February, I was honored by, and I'm sure many of your listeners know, there are 12 or 13 major main cigar manufacturers in the Dominican Republic.
Right.
And they have the annual Pro Cigar event. And I was honored this past February to ask to design one of the boxes that are given to everybody at the dinner. There were three or four different dinners. And one of them is the White Night, where if people know Pro Cigar, you have to dress up only in white.
Yeah.
And they came to me and we discussed the design of the box. And I'll show it to you. I actually have it over here. So I designed the original box.
Oh, man.
It's the 13 factories.
Oh, that's awesome.
And if you could see it, it has each of their bands representing their factory in the sunset or sunrise design.
And signed.
Yeah.
And, the back of each box has my signature. Is that where it is? There it is. And then inside, I'm not sure if I glued this one shut. I glued this one shut, but inside is each members of the 13 members was one of the cigars, and each night, each person gets the box.
Right.
And so I worked with their printer and their graphic designer. And so let's say there were 1,000 people that night, 1,000 people got the box. And it was an honor for me just to see people getting them, receiving them, taking
Absolutely.
pictures with them. So to me, that's been, that and the cover of the magazine last month has really been, it's been an honor.
Yeah. No, that's tremendous. That's great. Now, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, and I hope I'm not, because I'll really be stepping in it if I'm not. You came out with with your own cigar here recently.
Yes, it's called Kinship, and let me see if I can grab one here. So we have, this is
okay, and you said it's Kinship, right?
Kinship, as in friendship,
right?
And this blend is we have our factories in the Dominican Republic, and it's called Kinship because my 3 partners from my cigar lounge, who I'm friends with, we started it about 5 years ago. And we have 4 different faces. We have a San Andreas and a Habano 2000, and it's in a Toro and a Robusto.
Okay.
And I'm sharing this live with everybody and with you now, or at least with your audience, because I found out today that our new blend has arrived in Miami finally after about 7 months in the waiting. And our new cigar blend is called, instead of Kinship, it's called Next of Kin.
Okay.
And it's been blended. If your audience knows Davidoff, our master blender is Eladio Diaz.
Right.
And his son Emmanuel. So we met with Eladio, went over the blend, took a couple of trips to DR, and they are finally in Miami and should be here hopefully in the next 2 weeks, and we're excited about it.
Nice.
New band, everything's new but it's called Next to Kin.
Right. Now, what is your, are you allowed to discuss, what is your wrapper on that? Is it a Connecticut?
It's a Corojo.
Okay.
And
one of my favorites.
We have, my partner, Rich, he's from DR, and he's much better he's the one who helped really with the blending. I'm more, as you can imagine, more of the art and marketing aspect of the company, but he could tell you more. But it's a delicious, delicious blend. And I'm not just saying it because it's mine. The construction, in fact, today I was taking some videos and pictures, which I'm going to be posting with some samples that I had. And the ash the construction was great. It was great. I'm very happy with it. Excited.
Now, did you design the bands for all your cigars?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I worked with a graphic designer, and I designed 3, 4, 5 different versions, and we're on our 3rd right now. But yes, I designed the cigar band. And there were times that cigar companies, boutique, have reached out to me, and I've actually designed cigar bands for some companies.
Okay. Now, how does in the Next of Kin and with the Kinship, how does the I'm imagining, but I'll just ask the question, Mike. How do you start that process? Does that come from pad and paper? Does that come just from some, straight out of your mind? Or?
We sat, the 4 of us were having a cigar in my backyard. Mm-hmm. We decided that we wanted to start a cigar as sort of a knee-jerk reaction. Maybe we can make it take off.
Sure.
And lo and behold, we came up, we sat for an hour and a half, 2 hours, just coming up with different names and all different thoughts. And I could tell you the different imaginations of what we came up with. And then Rich said, Kinship, we're friends, and it clicked. That's it. And then I designed, because of the inspiration of kinship, I loved the old Victorian feel, like you have the My Father's feel.
Yeah.
And that was inspiration. So I came up with the design of the three men smoking a cigar together as friends.
Right.
So that's where it took off. And it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of hard work. Not easy, even to this day, getting your cigars out there.
Yeah.
So, but we're going to keep on plugging. We're still in our infancy, but we enjoy them. And, we'll do some local events, some cut and lights.
Right.
Trying to get people to help distribute them. But another challenge, we'll make it.
How long did the process take from, when y'all decided, hey, we want to do this, and then finding the right person, making those trips, coming up with the blends, testing them, picking the ones you liked, till you actually got them in your hands?
A good 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, about 3+ years. And I'm really proud of what we've accomplished, because Cigar Journal magazine rated all 4 of our cigars over a period of 3 magazines. So over a period of a year and 3 of the quarters.
Right.
And the 4 cigars were rated anywhere from an 89 to a 91.
I seen that. Yeah, congratulations.
So I was really proud.
And they don't hand out big scores.
No.
Typically.
But I'm hoping that we'll submit next of kin in the next couple of weeks, and hopefully in the future we'll get rated.
Yeah. No, that's great, man. I've always heard that it takes. I was looking for your answer. I was looking at that probably 3-year mark, because that's kind of what I had.
Yeah.
Anybody that tells you anything shorter than that,
sure. Yeah.
I mean, I'll tell you a funny story, because it made me think about it. When our first cigars came in, we ordered about 1,200. And when they came in, they actually went to customs through DR, went to Miami. Our broker then got them shipped here to us. And when they arrived, I opened the box and I was dumbfounded and depressed for about 2 months, because the cigars were in boxes of, at that time we had boxes, and there were boxes of 20. And I opened up the boxes, the main box, and almost every single box of my cigars had holes from a drill all through them, all over. 65% to 70% of all of our original sticks and boxes were all ruined.
Oh my gosh.
Golly.
You know why?
No, why?
Why? And I always think, why do you think that when I opened the box, they had drills marks all over them? It took me a little bit of research and questioning, but I found out. You want to take a guess?
Oh. I mean, I could keep trying to wrap my brain around it, but tell me.
Well, there were drill marks. There were clean drill holes.
Right.
And that's because when they removed the drills from the boxes, they wanted to see if there was any white powder on the drill bit.
Oh, my goodness. Because it was coming from the Dominican or the Caribbean or any of Miami.
They were checking for drugs.
Right.
I researched it, and it's a common practice in customs with boutique, non-known cigars. Oliva, Fuente's never going to have that issue.
Sure.
And to this day, I have some of the boxes, and I think a future blend is going to be an homage to that with drill holes. We're going to see.
Right. Well, so at that point, are you just stuck with those?
They're in the garbage. Nothing you can do. They had holes. You can't smoke them. I still have some of the boxes.
Right. I mean, I guess, I mean, obviously you're stuck with the product, but does that?
really no insurance that covers that, probably.
No, we tried, nothing. And then, as you can imagine, we got delayed almost another year.
Yeah.
Well, not a year, but to do another production.
Right.
And hope they didn't drill those when they got here.
Well, that time it didn't. We changed, instead of boxes, we changed to bundles with cellophane through it so they can see them.
Right.
Smart.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Wow. Golly, I could only,
Customs does what they want.
yeah. No, I mean, I get it, but you would think, it's just heartbreaking.
True story.
I mean, I'm just sitting here. I'm miserable about it now.
Well, now I can laugh 3 years later.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Wow. Drills. Oh, man. Well, are you guys selling those yourself? Have you got a team in place with all that, or?
Well, we're trying to, a lot of it's word of mouth.
Yeah.
We just recently brought on a distributor who's going lounge to lounge, store to store.
Right.
But that's really in its infancy. It's difficult right now.
Yeah.
But we'll get there.
Yeah.
If not, we're going to have a lot of really good sticks to smoke.
Yeah. Well, we can't necessarily say where to get those on here due to YouTube reasonings.
But use your imagination.
But use your imagination, I would imagine, would be the right thing to do. And,
I think you're right.
And you can always email us at goodguyscigars.com or one more for the good guys. And we can, we'll be glad to share that information with you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
What have you set your MSRP at per stick? Have you decided?
Well, being here in New York with taxes at 70%,
right?
It's different. So, for example, you can go into the lounge and our original kinship, our next of kin is a totally different level. So we're going to be raising prices, but the MSRP by the time you're walking out or putting it in your mouth is about $16.
Yeah.
But that's because of New York tax.
Right. Sure.
So, but if you go to Florida, the stick could be 40%, 50% less.
Right. Very good. Very good. How exciting was it to work with the blenders and actually, be able to do that process?
To be in the presence of Eladio Diaz.
Yeah.
I don't know, people who know the industry well, and I learned this over time, but this is another story. Eladio Diaz is probably the world's most famous blender ever from Davidoff. And now he and Emmanuel and his sons have their own factory in DR. But whenever you get a cigar from Eladio, he presents it to you like this. And I found out about it before I met him. Turns out that Emmanuel, his son, reached out to me on Instagram because he wanted some lighters for me to design.
Okay.
And I said, okay, what do you want? Your bands? He says, no, I want Fuente bands. I said, wait a second. I said, Emmanuel, you want Fuente bands? But you have your own brands and your own bands. He said, no, my dad, Eladio, was a big Fuente smoker, and I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
So especially for Fuente.
He said, I want to surprise my dad, and I want you to make a Fuente lighter for him. And I said, no problem. And this was like in maybe December we talked, and January, and I knew I was going to be down for Pro Cigar in February. So I said, I'll bring it.
Yeah.
And he calls me back, and we agreed on a price. And he calls me back and he says, you know what? I want to change my mind. I want 2 lighters. I said, I want to surprise my dad with one, and I want one. I said, I'll make you a deal. I said, you've already paid me for the one for your dad. I said, no charge for the other one, but I want a box of 70th anniversary cigars that you can't get in the United States because they're only sold in Europe, that Eladio did for his 70th birthday.
Yeah.
And I said to Emmanuel, and you do Freud, because he does the Freud cigar. I said, you get me a signed box of each and you can have a lighter. He said, done. That's when we talked about the idea of we're looking for a new blender and new blending.
Right.
I go down to DR to talk about the blends, and I have the lighters. Eladio doesn't know about the lighters yet. We go in, we sit for a little while, and then Eladio doesn't really speak much English at all, and Emmanuel is translating most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And Emmanuel says to Eladio, Dad, I have a surprise for you. And Eladio says, what? He says, Robert made a lighter, and I want you to have it. So when I took the lighter out and he stands up, I take the lighter and I present it to him.
Yeah, yeah.
And he laughed. And that was a fun story, but that's how we got into having Eladio blend our cigars.
Right. Well, we tell people all the time, especially when we're in our sign off section of our show, that just being kind to one another, and it doesn't cost a dime to be kind. And
it really doesn't. That's to me, Mike. That's the key to the cigar industry.
Yeah.
Everybody treats everybody like family.
Yeah.
Is there competition? Sure. But everybody supports everybody in the industry.
Yeah.
I learned that.
Yeah. We live here in Knoxville, Tennessee. We come in, we're from a very rich musical community here. And that's something I think that separates us from places like Nashville or Austin, Texas, and different places like that. It is very much the same.
Family, yeah.
Yeah. There's still that really healthy part of the competition there, but.
It's true. When I got the trophy award in Germany last year, I was asked to, to give a little, comment or speech. And I literally went into the, I pointed to the people, Jorge, thank you for treating me like family. Carlito, everybody, because they treated me like family.
Yeah.
And it is absolutely true, really.
Yeah. Well, where do you see yourself with your art and your projects, say, in the next 5 years? You see anything slowing down?
I hope not.
Yeah.
Everything, just like my artwork, it develops.
Yeah.
And so now, even as we talked about today, a new phase for me is putting my artwork on T-shirts.
Right.
I'm in talks with some other people to design different types of my art in mass production. I'm honored by Fuente to have given me a license, which,
wow,
is an honor.
That's big.
So I see myself thinking about doing things on a grand scale. My dream someday is to have my own studio or, gallery or part of a gallery.
Yeah.
And really not, listen, I don't do this for the money. Don't get me wrong. It's not a bad thing if people buy your art.
Sure.
But I picture myself in a gallery that allows you to smoke cigars, sitting on a big director's chair, just enjoying people, enjoying my art.
Yeah.
They want to buy it, great. But having the appreciation and hearing the compliments to me means so much more than any dollar amount you could ever even think. It's not about money.
Yeah.
We can relate with that.
Yeah.
Music, because it's certainly not about money.
Well, I've said it for years, we don't get paid to play the music. We get paid to handle all the logistics, to handle all the coordinating the events with the guys. We get paid for the rehearsals, for the trips there to and from,
Sure.
the load in, the load out. But when we're playing and singing, that's
the reward.
That's the reward.
I think one of the first times that you and I talked, and I still want to make it happen.
Yeah.
My goal is to come down, not this year probably, but next year when you're doing it, God willing, making something. Will you do a fundraiser? Maybe I even mentioned to you, maybe we'll make a tambourine and I'm going to come up on stage and play it with you.
Yeah, we will make that happen for sure. Now that we're even a little closer friends now, we will certainly make that happen. And hopefully maybe what we can do is get a show for you down here to where you can showcase some of your stuff, bring some cigars.
I would love that. I'd love to try and get my cigars in your local lounges.
Yeah.
That's, you asked me where I see myself trying to expand, make connections, make new family, get people to try the cigar, try the artwork, have my artwork in different lounges locally. I have a lot of lounges who will buy a piece or two from me to use as a giveaway because they want to do raffles and it's on their countertop and then people order. I would love my lighters and ashtrays to get them into lounges so people can appreciate it. Yeah.
Well, and who knows with this whole T-shirt thing, I mean, that can even cross over into the out of the cigar world into the popular world as far as design and aesthetics and all that. So
I plan on going to the Big Smoke. I'll be in next weekend in Las Vegas, and I plan on wearing both nights wearing my artwork.
Nice.
Well, the first thing I thought when those Jordans that you're taking out there.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, Mr. Jordan himself would like a pair of those.
Yeah.
Because he's a cigar smoker.
He is a cigar guy.
And that would be a big, thing.
Yeah, I don't mind. But he's going to have to give me something for that.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
He's got it to give, doesn't he?
I don't mean money necessarily. I'm a big sports fanatic. I'll take a sign, something,
Yeah.
What's your favorite sports moment?
Well, I guess I guess I'd say three of them, and one was recent. I guess when I was a younger man or young adult, I caught a foul ball. Well, I didn't catch it, but I scruffled for it. Got a couple of bruises at Shea Stadium. I got a foul ball.
Nice.
When I was in law school, I'll never forget being in my apartment watching the 86 Mets.
Oh, yeah. That was a good one.
And I think my daughter got married in May, and my son-in-law is who I adore and love like a son, Joe. He's probably the world's biggest Dodger fan.
Okay.
So we have a Met Dodger thing going on for years now. And I took him last week to the playoffs.
Oh, nice.
And that was a special moment for me.
Yeah.
In fact, as a gift for the wedding, I made him and my daughter Alicia for their home because he's stealing her to LA in March because that's where he's from.
Right.
But I made him a beautiful LA Dodgers logo in all blue bands.
Oh, wow. Nice.
But being at the game with Joe last week was a special sports moment. So to me, it's not necessarily the game, but it's the event. So that's probably it.
Well, that's great. Well, I know we said we were going to have you for about an hour or maybe a little bit more, and I think we're getting pretty close to that. And I think you got dinner plans coming up with the missus, but
all good.
I certainly don't want this to be our first and last time that we're able to do something like this.
My pleasure. We can absolutely.
And you've made our day, Robert. Honest to goodness.
Well, I appreciate any of your listeners out there if they're interested in, again, have questions or interested in artwork or want to see anything. My pleasure. They can DM me, hit me up again, Instagram at ArtDaveFumar, ArtDefumar, online at artdavefumar.com. Cheap plugs, but feel free to reach out. through you, Mike, you guys can get in touch with you guys and get in touch with me. But I'd love to, bring it on for everybody to see. And I appreciate you having me on as well, as you have been very gracious about this.
Well, you're very welcome, Robert. And we thank you again. And again, folks, that's Art de Fumar, ARTDEFUMAR on Instagram. We'll find out a little bit more about the cigars and different things that Robert's got going on. And if you got any questions or want to email us, you can email us at onemoreforthegoodguys@gmail.com, or you can email us at goodguyscigars.com. And we're just going to close off the same way we do each week, Art. And folks, it's been a pleasure. Continue to like, share, subscribe, support not only our channel, but with Art's channel, or with Rob's channel, Art de Fumar, as well. Be kind to one another. Anybody can be an asshole. It's no special feat to accomplish that. It doesn't cost anything to be kind, but there's certainly always a price to be paid for cruelty. So that's been. And
I just want to say, as my line is, don't forget, where there's smoke, there's art.
There you go. And we also like to say, life's too short to smoke bad cigars. So thank you, friend.
To you guys.
We'll be in touch and do it soon. And hope the Dodgers take them in 5. That's all I got to say.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I hate the Yankees. I'm with you.
Cheers, Art. God bless you, friend.
You either is or you ain't. You do or you don't. You can or you can't. Or you will or you won't. Either way, baby, a good man, well, he's hard to find.